I built my first seven-figure business by age 23, but I actually did it the hard way. There was no funding, there was no network, and if I had to do it all over again, here's exactly what I would do step by step that would go way faster with much less pain. And I would actually just do 3 things to quickly ramp to $1 million. By the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jennifer Waters, and I actually grew my family's martial arts school from basically nothing to 7 figures a year within about 4.5, 5 years. Since then, we've continued to hit multiple 7 figures in that business. And then on top of that, back in 2020, I started an agency working with people just like me that had challenges and issues and wanted to be able to scale past a few $1,000s a month to actually making significant money. At this point, I've worked with over 450 business owners, and I've really helped them grow their businesses through better offers, better systems, and just a smarter strategy. It's something that I want to share because ultimately I want to go from $3 million a year. Roughly we're doing a little bit past 3 right now at the time of this recording, to $20 million a year. And I want to share that journey with you, the viewer who's actually watching this channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, it would be absolutely amazing if you go ahead, hit the thumbs up button, hit subscribe, because we're going to be dropping tons of content on this channel to help you. And here's the first thing that specifically helped me and has helped tons of business owners as they also are trying to take a leap forward in their business. It's pricing. I think there's so much noise out there when it comes to what kind of funnel that I should be having, what kind of offer, especially after reading $100 million offers. Everybody has a different offer or guarantee that they're trying to get out there into the marketplace. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, what you actually sell and the price point that you sell at is the differentiating factor on whether or not you can ramp up enough cash in your business to be sustainable. There's been so many different times and seasons in my life as an entrepreneur where I had some ridiculously low pricing. And yes, did we get a ton of people in the door physically or virtually? Yes, we did. Did they stick with us long term? Most of them, no. And it was very hard converting them to a higher tiered pricing structure, even though I was giving them some sort of crazy offer on the front end. What I've found to actually work better is to figure out what that particular market can bear as far as a price point. Most people, when they try to figure out what the market can bear, will do it by price shopping, by going around and being able to call local businesses. Let's say you're a local business owner and you're calling local businesses to see what they're charging. Or let's say you're in the online space, just like I am, and you go and you try to compare what other people are charging. And you're just really throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks. There's a much easier way to do this, and that's what I want to share with you right now. For local-based businesses, you can simply look at what the average household income is in your area. And you can pretty much determine from the average household income that you're going to take up a percentage of that market share. Now, in my case, we teach martial arts, and so we know that's an extracurricular activity. And on average, families and homes will spend about 10% of their annual income on recreational activities. So you can kind of look and you can see, okay, where are they going to be spending their money? Now, does that mean you're going to capture all 10% of that? Heck no. Depending upon your level of market penetration, you might be at 1%, 2%, maybe even 3%. You might get that far market penetration. But if you're a local business, you're not going to be getting 5, 7, or even 10% of that. You also have to think for a family, it's going to be divided up among the family members. So a gym membership, gymnastics, dance, karate, and you got all these other things. So normally I advise between 2 to 3% of your average household income in your area. That's probably what you can charge on a yearly basis. Divide that down into monthly, and then voila, you got your price. Now, the online space took me a little bit longer to figure out because I'll be honest, I knew how to do that for the local business, but I didn't understand how to do that for the online space. And it didn't occur to me that I could just use the exact same model and then I could figure out how much I could charge in the verticals that I'm actually in. And once I figured that out, it was like, the moment, right? It was a relief. So you got to think, how much is a business actually going to spend on marketing? And you got to think about how much revenue that business is bringing in. So if you're working with a business that's doing $500,000 a year, so $500,000 a year, and you've got an aggressive business, a business that's going to be spending 10% of their gross revenue, and they're going to be spending that on actual marketing, which most of the time for local businesses, they're not even thinking about spending 10%. They're spending like 1%, but let's just say they're going to spend 10% of that. So if I were to take $500,000 and I were to say, okay, 10% of that budget, what is that going to actually mean to me? Well, that's going to be $50,000 for the year. Well, that's all aspects of marketing. That's what you're going to charge, and that's ad spend. So if you were to simply go, okay, I'm going to charge half of that, and then I'm going to charge the other half is going to be ad spend. If that math were to actually work out, then you would be capped at about $25,000 a year that you could charge for your services. That's not too bad. That's a little over $2,000 a month. But the reality is that you're probably going to be wanting them to spend more on the ads than what they're spending on your service so they can generate more leads and more sales. This is a great way to be able to start looking at how much should I be charging. Now, if you're dealing with businesses that are less than $500,000 a year, which some local businesses are, then your amount that you can charge is going to lower proportionally. And again, this is something that I wish I had understood way back in the day when I first started in the online space, but I didn't actually get it. So hopefully it's helpful for you to just start thinking about, if I could get the market, whatever I'm trying to market for it, if I understand that they're, according to a perfect P&L, they would spend about 7 to 10% on marketing, and that's their annual marketing budget. Then you can reverse engineer, what is your cap? Once you know what your cap is, what you can charge, now it's going to seem like a more reasonable price. You're not going to get as much price resistance. And then you can really figure out, is it my sales and the process that I'm taking someone through that's stopping them from signing up with me and paying me my retainer or paying for my services that I offer, whatever it is? Or is it the actual price? And I think just eliminating price altogether is something that's so important to do and to be able to focus on. The second thing is, I had to stop being product focused and I had to be more marketing focused. Now, hear me. I know I just said a minute ago, like, that you need to be really focused on what your price is for your area. And then that's something to keep in mind when you're trying to build this out. And I totally agree. Yes, you should be doing that. But back in the day when I was trying to grow the brick and mortar business, my dad and I, because my dad started the martial arts school back in 1982. So my dad and I were super focused on what we taught and how we taught classes. And my dad is a phenomenal martial artist. He's a 10th degree black belt. He's trained with the best of the best, UFC fighters, Brazilian jiu-jitsu experts. He's traveled all over, and he is just a wizard when it comes to martial arts. Very few people are like him to be as well-versed across so many different styles of martial arts. There's no way that he could teach everything he has learned over the last 50 years of martial arts training to an individual who is just getting started. There's no way. We were so focused on making a better product, making it better, that we had made such a great product that no one would ever be able to actually receive the whole product. Instead of taking that big giant product that we have and splintering it out into smaller pieces, we were trying to shove all of that out into the marketplace, and the market was just not ready for it because the market didn't even understand it. Like, how do you take somebody who doesn't understand anything about what you do other than, oh, it's that punch kick thing that you do, right? And this is a metaphor. This could be for your local business, for your online business, whatever. The market doesn't understand what you do. They are just literally drive-by leads. They drove by, they happen to catch a quick glance at your storefront, they happen to catch a quick glance at your ad, but they don't know what you do. You know what you do. You know the depth of knowledge, but they don't. So you have to stop being so focused on product, and you have to start focusing on marketing. And when I say stop focusing on product, I don't mean that you have a subpar product that you're selling. I mean that everything becomes about, how do I talk to the masses about what I'm offering in a way that is simple to understand and easy for them to say yes to. If I can make it simple for the person to understand what I do, and then it's easy for them to say yes to opt in to learn more, then I'm going to attract far more people. I'm going to be able to convert them, and then I'm going to be able to scale my business. But if I'm so focused on fixing and creating this beautiful product, I'll spend all my energy, all my years, all my effort creating a product that isn't going to sell. It may not even fit in the marketplace at all. The third thing that I would do different on my journey to make $1 million a whole heck of a lot faster than I did before is I would make sure that the business itself was not reliant on me. So I would make sure that all of the sales were not reliant on me from the beginning. I would make sure that my systems, my essential systems for onboarding new clients, new customers was not reliant on me to do. And then I would also make sure that I would have someone who could be in a position side by side with me that could oversee the day-to-day operations, or in this case, a chief operating officer. I found from my personality that I am very systems driven, but I am also very, very outgoing. Like, I like to get going. I like starting new ideas. My follow through is a skill and a disciplinary feature about myself that I've developed because of my extensive years of martial arts, my fighting career that I had, all of that. Like, that taught me how to have discipline and how to remember to do things and to stay focused on things and do the things that I just ultimately hate doing. But for my long-term mindset and creativity, where I thrive the most, I don't want to stay in the day-to-day. It really crushes my ability to create and generate more revenue because I'm stuck in the day-to-day. And it took me a long time to figure out that there were people that would do better at that than me, at sticking with the day-to-day and making sure all the pieces of the puzzle fit together nicely. And so for you, it would be very important if you're trying to build up your business fast, whether that's because you want to cash flow your business or maybe you want to sell your business, which, by the way, click the link in the description. If you are remotely interested, you have a business doing $50,000 and up, and you're looking to sell, we are actively acquiring businesses as well. So click the link, you can fill out an application, and we could see if it would be a possible fit. But let's say you do want to build a business that's sellable. You got to have something that doesn't rely on you as a founder to make it a sellable asset. And that's going to require that you have some sort of operator there. Unless you're trying to sell and still just be a partner of the business, you're trying to sell off equity in the business. So again, those would be the 3 things that I would do if I had to start all over again to make 7 figures in rapid speed. If this helped, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I do drop new content every week, either our Making Millions podcast, shout out to the podcast crew, or tutorials and tips just like this. Very awesome to have you here, and I will see you next time. Keep being awesome. See you guys.